slide off into the ditch. And I ended up just grabbing it on the way back. And I've yet to put it back on. It's in the back. But I'm going to try to keep my voice up loud, so hopefully the audio comes across loud and clear. Hopefully the background noise isn't too terrible. I was having a conversation the other day, and I'd been thinking about it, and I wanted to share a little bit. I was having a conversation with someone who has watched me grow up since I was a little kid, so knows my life really, really well. So some of the things that I'm going to say were likely more impactful to that person because they have a really great reference point as to what I'm talking about when I refer to my childhood, my entire life, really. But aside, I made a statement in that conversation that almost as soon as I said it, I realized, I don't think that's very accurate. I don't think it's very true. At least that's how I felt internally. It was one of those things, it's like, once I put it out into words, I was like, I don't know if I agree with that as much as I thought I did when it was just in my head. And I do that an awful lot, where as soon as I actually say something and put it out into the world, I hear it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, so that's why I like talking to myself sometimes. But I was talking about discipline, particularly my own discipline, or, my perceived lack thereof. Not entirely, but in certain contexts. And basically I was saying, with reference to my whole life and some of the hardships I've had, I realized that time is very, very finite, and that I shouldn't waste a lot of time doing things that I don't want to do in life, because the way I see it, there's not an abundance of time to waste. The way I like to think about it is I'm 24, I'm going to be 25 soon, and I'm not guaranteed tomorrow or the next day or even the next hour, but if everything goes right and I'm incredibly lucky to live to an old age, let's say life expectancy for me was 75, that means I'm 1/3 of the way through my life. And to me, that's a really appreciable fraction. I mean, 1/3 is huge. And the way I like to think of it that really registers with myself is that everything I've ever done, I have time to do 2 more times. And that's it. And that's if everything goes well. That's if I'm incredibly lucky to be able to live that long. And yeah, I could live longer, I could live to 100, but in that case, it's only 3 more times. And when I think of it like that, I'm like, holy moly, I need to kick it in gear and do as much as I can in this life and appreciate as much as I can in this life, because that's not a whole lot of time. Again, that's just how I like to think of it. But anyway, back to the conversation I was having. I was saying that, I think I went so far as to say, I almost feel like I have this sense of entitlement when it comes to not doing stuff I don't want to do. That because some of the hardships I'd faced in the past, I'd wasted so much of my life on some universal level that I am deserving of not having to, face or do much more that I don't want to do. Which, of course, which I did reflect on immediately, I know isn't true. I don't believe that there's some universal law that says that you faced hardship, you can no longer endure any more hardship, as if there's some kind of tolerance for that or cap to that that an individual is allowed to experience in their life. Of course, there is no such limit, right? On a universal level, that is. And I was talking about that, but I was saying, man, there's some days that, I get up and I'm, really questioning, I really don't want to do this job, today, or whatever it is. And our conversation continued, but I was kind of quite agree with it, even for myself. I was really thinking that, I do think I have a good work ethic and a good discipline, but I just think that my statement was too generic. It's not that I lack discipline, it's that I feel the importance of having a deeply rooted mission and purpose with what you're doing kind of supersedes or is more important than just strictly discipline. Are there days that, you just need discipline to get yourself out of bed and do what you're supposed to do? Sure. But I don't think discipline is a replacement for a replacement for having a mission or a purpose. I don't think it is a sufficient way to go through life simply using discipline to get through what needs to be done. I think if we can connect what we're doing on a day-to-day level, or even an hour-to-hour level, to our deeply rooted mission and purpose, I think that the discipline becomes much more powerful, right? Because of course there's going to be days that's like, I'm tired, my body's sore, I'm just not feeling it today. But when I can mentally connect what I need to do with what is deeply, deeply important to me to do in life and fits in with my core values, then I'm easily able to make the decision that, this momentary pain that I'm feeling, this tiredness, this soreness, this whatever, is in no regard worth holding me back from getting one step closer from what it is I want. Right? But I have found with myself that there are days that if I don't have that connection to purpose, that discipline isn't always enough. Because if I'm just doing something and I'm like, I don't want to do this, it's not helping me get further with what I want in life, there's no real deep value in that. So I'm able to rationalize, I'll get up, 15 minutes later, 15 minutes turns into an hour on the weekend, right? Or whatever it is. And I think it's so easy, and I know I've done it for years, I think it's so easy to float through life stuck in the routine, but never reflecting and asking ourselves, is this what I want to be doing in life? Is this making me fulfilled? Is this driving my purpose? And I think it's just so easy. We get caught up in the routine and we do what we do every day and we think about that, but we don't think about the why. All of a sudden 10 years goes by and we realize I'm no closer as an individual to where I want to be, or I'm no more fulfilled as an individual than I was a decade ago. And I feel like that's a very dangerous way to live life. I think it's a very dangerous path that can lead toward a lot of regret or a lot of misery down the road. So again, circling back, I wouldn't say that I totally lack discipline, as I had said in that conversation the other night, or that I am unwilling to do what I don't want to do. I would say there are moments I'm doing things I know aren't connected in any way to my core values or what I feel is my purpose in life, and those are the things that I find I have a very difficult time with my discipline to overcome and make myself do. Whereas with the things I can connect my purpose and my want and my desire, the things that make me fulfilled in life, if I can connect my present action to those things, I've got discipline forever. I'll work myself into the ground, right? So those were my thoughts on that conversation. And man, I just think it's really, really powerful having having that purpose to support our discipline, to drive our discipline. Not necessarily motivation, but to support and drive our discipline. Give our discipline meaning rather than using discipline as a tool to drag ourselves through a life that we hate. Anyway, happy Sunday, guys. Hope you got a little bit of value out of this, and I will see y'all later.